In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Both in the Gospel and the Epistle reading for today, we read about some aspects which are relevant to people who are living in the world, people like you and I. It has to do with goods, material goods. It has to do with money, with payments, with work, and such things. It's interesting that in the Bible we find such things as these, that although the Bible is a very spiritual book and gives us a spiritual rundown on how we are to behave in the life that we have, it also is full of wisdom on how to live in this particular world. One thing that is brought forth to us, even from the Old Testament times, is that people set out to do something pleasing to the Lord, to be the Lord's servant or handmaid or something to that effect. After all, what would you be doing if you had that not in your life? What would you be doing? Today it's very easy to see what you would be doing because places of entertainment and whatever are absolutely full of people who are doing the opposite. And usually when we read those passages and study them, there is some commentary about the fact that when a person sets out to work for the Lord, it is not our duty to stop them. It's not our duty to stop them. It is not our duty to prevent them from doing those things, even if it may seem that they are not necessary. That is, they seem like they may not be necessary. But in fact, the Lord can render anything that seems unnecessary to us as necessary for the salvation of souls. You've probably heard about such things as, which was read today, that when the ox is muzzled and is working, don't sort of just let it go. Or if a candle is burning, that is, if a person is zealous for some sort of work for the Lord, don't snuff it out. Don't blow it out. Because most people are actually quite weak, spiritually and physically. And if they are sincere in their spiritual life, in their life in Orthodoxy, will strive to do that which is put in front of them. And indeed, often it is a very simple thing and very easily lent to be criticized by others. But these others who criticize them and who even condemn them actually do nothing themselves. And so you have this very weird situation. Somebody does nothing but has the audacity to criticize somebody who is doing something, even if it's only a small thing. Nevertheless, they're doing something and they are trying to please the Lord. And in time, if they continue that way, it will grow. Our spiritual Father Herman always always reminded us not to snuff out the candle. And in that situation, he was referring mainly to the period in the history of Orthodoxy in the 80s and the 90s, especially where converts were coming into the church and were starting to study and read up about Orthodoxy, and their understanding wasn't always correct and their approach wasn't always correct. Nevertheless, when those sorts of things happen, the idea is to encourage them and show them how to do those sorts of things so that they will indeed be pleasing to the Lord and not subject to the criticism of those who actually do nothing. So it's very easy to snuff out the candle. A person finds out something about the truth and they realise that it's in the Orthodox Church and they want to do or want to know more about it. So they go ahead and with zeal, sometimes a lot of zeal, put their energy into these sorts of things, only to be told sooner or later by somebody who thinks that they know better that what you are doing is not necessary. It's not an Orthodox thing. Just drop it, and enjoy your life and whatever, and don't worry about that. This is why I protect those in our flock who study up various contemporary issues and present them to others, even if they may not be 100% perfectly correct. Because sooner or later, they will be 100% correct. But the important thing is that somebody is doing it and finding out about those things and sharing it with those who indeed need it. Otherwise, where is anyone else going to obtain that sort of information? I made an effort yesterday to try and entice people from our archdiocese, Antiochian archdiocese, to come occasionally a bit more, not because we need numbers here or anything like that, but so that they can get a dose of what is happening in the world. And if it seems to them to be what they call conspiracy theory or something like that, that's all right. That's okay. The truth will come out of what it really is. The important thing is that somebody has looked into it in some detail and presented the possibilities and the options that are around. And therefore, when this happens, it's important for those around them not to snuff that candle out, not to snuff that work out, not to stop it, unless, of course, there is really terrible foolishness, which we too meet and have met only last week in various ways. Something that I still want to talk about and write about, so that those of us who knew something about Petro, for example, and his situation, have a right understanding about what he was trying to do and what we are trying to do as a missionary parish. A missionary parish. One that feeds the flock through Christ's body and blood, but also feeds their soul with understanding of the wisdom that they need in order to survive in this world, which seems to be heading for all sorts of unpleasantries, which are already happening around us. I am sure those of you who have been coming here for some time, 5 years ago, would have been shocked to see what's happening just 2 blocks away, the sort of the things that have been put up and built. And you ask yourself, what is this for, and who is it for, and what's the point of all of this, and where is it all going to stop? These are actually important questions because it has nothing to do with developing Australia in the sense that we think of when we talk about economic or materialistic development. It has to do with something totally different. What we see is the product of, I'll use the word, a conspiracy of one form or other. And we have to know what that conspiracy is and why it's done. The Bible, of course, being written so many centuries ago, didn't specifically say that on such and such a street or such and such a place this is going to happen, but gave general terms about what people in the future will witness and what they are to do about that. And therefore I encourage all of you who are zealous for true knowledge, are zealous for understanding the situation in the world, to continue to do this. Do it in a loving way so that those around you also may be inspired and may be inflamed to show interest and to even help. Because don't forget, that is part of the talent that's been given to you for you to bring forth fruit with. The Lord has given you those abilities, and He expects you to use them to serve Him. Sooner or later, sooner I hope, I will gather some people together and we will discuss some of the things that have come to pass recently and what our attitude to that should be. Given that we now have quite a lot of changes in the Archdiocese, not that we live for the Archdiocese, nevertheless we have a new bishop, priests, new generations of young people coming on board, and all of those need to know where to look to find answers to life's various questions and what to do with their own lives so that whilst they are living and doing the things that people normally do to live, study, school, work, all those sorts of things, to find how they may serve the Lord as well. Because the Lord loves greatly to have His servants do His work. When you think about that, it makes a lot of sense because He created us in his image and likeness. And by allowing us the freedom to work for him, we become closer and closer to his creative energy. May God help us in this, and may we be alert when we read something from the Holy Fathers or from the Bible or from any of those sort of sources, that the knowledge, true knowledge about what surrounds us is always such that we can find it and share it with others. And never ever smother out somebody who's just beginning to walk that path. Because that is in the category where Christ said that various trials and tribulations will occur, but woe to the one from whom they occur, because it would be better that a millstone was put around their neck and they were thrown into the sea. God help us with this work, because that too is work, and that too requires talent and an effort on our behalf. But through that, orthodoxy can grow, and those who find the truth, you will see that even if initially they may have made different mistakes, they are quickly corrected. And these people, like Father Seraphim Rose, for example, can become saints. Because he certainly made many, let's say, wrong understandings in some of the material that he brought or was studying, but then he turned it around and understood where it sat insofar as Orthodox Christianity is concerned. God help us in this work, preserve us, and pray for these people and for all of us, because if anything is needed today in Australia and English-speaking countries, it's true mission, true wisdom, and encouragement to do this work.